Guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're actually working on a 2016 Camaro SS, and we just got done doing the injectors in there, and then now we're putting in the MSD boost pump, which is the MSD programmable fuel pump volt controller, part number 2351. So what you need to do is, when you splice this into the car, is you take the red wire that's not going to the battery. So it'd be these inside the coatings here. So it's the red wire and the orange wire that are inside the coating. And then what you do is you're going to be splicing it in to the relay that's in the back here. You're going to take in these two wires that run all the way through and splicing them into the fuse box in the back. So right now we just have it mocked up so we can get it to run. But when you take it off, it's going to be this 25 amp fuse right here in the back. Now right here in the back, there's going to be one, and then the top one here is going to be empty. So what happens is, when this sends power, both these are connected. When power comes in, goes into the fuse, and it goes to this top one up here. This top one, there's a metal bar in there that comes down to this this wire here. I believe this might be the power wire coming in to power it. But you're going to go off of this smaller red white wire. So your orange wire from the MSD is going to go into the fuse, and then you're going to take that red power wire from the MSD for this and splice it in between, and then it'll come right back into here. So when you start it up, or when you actually have power to this, you're going to get some blinking lights. All right, so you see it's on, and it should turn off, and then it'll send the codes 1, 1, 2, 3. So what that's telling me is that it's ready to go, but it's sensing that the ignition is not on. So that is normal. See, 1, 1, 2, 3. So it'll be code 13. So once that happens, you know you're fine, because you splice back in there the right way. So when you splice it in the right way and that code comes up, like I said, it just deals with the ignition is not on. It's sensing the ignition is not on. So then you can turn the ignition on, and then it will stay on like that when you do turn the ignition on, once it senses it. So that's how it's going to be the entire time when the car is actually running. So with this, you can boost it with the vacuum line on that little nipple right there off of your intake manifold. And that's how you can also tune it by boost for the voltage for it. So once we get everything wired up and to the right way, we're going to go over that also, because you can also use this for an NA setting, like how this guy is going to be using his boost pump for just an NA, because he has bigger injectors on. All right, so we got the wiring done. We mounted on this side. We ran the power all the way down, just followed the main power source all the way through, up, snaked it with it, got the connector at the end, it'll go right over. Same thing for the negative, took the negative all the way down, came across, followed the main negative for the battery, came up, and then we have it right down here that we're going to connect to the post there. So for the orange and red wire, we just took the casing off of it first, then ran it all the way through, followed the main wiring harness, and then came up with it. I left some extra length on there. So basically the red wire is going into the fuel pump, and then the orange one is going into the fuse on here. So a lot of people think you got to put an inline fuse in with this. So if you have the newer one like this, this has the inertia rollover and a fuse inside of it, so it will shut itself off, along with this one that's going, the 25 amp fuse that's going to the fuel pump itself. So you have they say red and white wire, it looks pink, but it's the only red and white wire that's on this one, the 25 amp fuse that you connect. The orange goes down into the fuse. Then that wire up here that's going upwards towards the top of the trunk, that's where this red one goes into. So when you wire in, that red one goes up, the orange one that comes down into the fuse, that's everything's gonna be fine. So once we connect everything, like I said before, this is gonna blink. Now, if you get a 21 or a 31, what happens is there's low voltage in your battery and you need to charge your battery up. There needs to be a minimum of 13.7 volts and that code will go away. The other light that's gonna flash is when we hook everything up, like I showed before, is you're gonna get a 13. It's gonna be one flash and then 3 consecutive flashes after that. That means it's hooked up properly, there's no faults in there, and the ignition is on and we're just waiting for it to start. And then once it starts, it's gonna be a solid red light, and then you'll be good to go. And on the MSD instructions, it tells you what each blinking light does and everything. But so that's how we wired it up. We didn't do the vacuum line because we're not running a boost application, so we're not gonna have to worry about that. But this is how we're wiring up. Also, make sure you always carry around a 25 amp fuse or a 20 amp fuse or a 31, depending on what your fuel system's gonna be. Because even though when you tune this, stuff can happen, stuff can like arc off itself if you have something in your trunk, and that fuse will blow right up top there. And that you just get, and if this doesn't work and your fuel pump doesn't work, mainly just going to be that fuse that popped. And this is going to be the last resort of something going off. So, all right, so we're going to fire it up. You let it run for 5 minutes, let the ECU learn everything on here, and then we'll turn it off. We'll get the computer loaded up with the program. We'll plug it into this, turn it back on, and we'll get everything situated. So we'll do that next. All right, guys, so here we go. This is what it sounds like when you actually turn it on. 2016 Camaro. 2015 Camaro.